Hello everybody, this is James Christian with rudimentaluniversity.com, and today I have something to talk about as far as rhythm goes with some terminology that most musicians don't deal with, but as drummers this can be very helpful. We're used to whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, and once you start learning about tuplet patterns you can get into half note triplets, quarter note triplets, eighth note triplets, 16th note triplets, and so forth. So I'm going to talk about a way you can talk about tuplet patterns and make it a little bit easier, especially when you're writing on the internet and typing. You can make it consistent, and it'll also just save space, and it's just kind of a nice shorthand for your terminology here. So if you think about it, eighth notes are called eighth notes because there are 8 notes in a measure of 4/4 time, common time. So a whole note is a whole note, and it's only whole in common time. If you have it in 6/4 time, say, it's still called a whole note, but it's whole referring to common time. So common time is the basis for all the note names that we use in rhythms. So eighth notes are there, 16th notes are there, and there are 16 notes in a measure, so they are 16th notes. What about these? We call them eighth note triplets, but if you look at it, there are 12 notes, so you could call these 12th notes. So eighth notes, 12th notes, 16th notes. You could go backwards up the scale, and here you've got 6th notes, 4th notes or quarter notes, 3rd notes, half notes, and whole notes. So all those terms can be used for those. Over on this side, I think, is where it becomes more helpful. When you have quintuplets, and all these numbers, I mean, you have quintuplets, sextuplets, septuplets, could call octuplets here, nontuplets, dectuplets, and usually after that, people have a hard time even knowing what the correct terminology is once you get past 10. So quintuplets could also be called 20th notes. Sextuplets could also be called 24th notes. Septuplets could also be called 28th notes. 32nd notes, most of us know. Non-tuplets could be called 36th notes. And then you've got 40th notes. I skipped 11 because. And then 12th notes, 12lets would also be called 48th notes. Now, when this gets helpful is especially when you're doing rolls, double stroke rolls. Because if you're doing sextuplets and you want to double those, you can say I'm doing a 12let or something like that, but it's just a lot quicker to say I'm doing 48th notes. And if you know that's 24th and 48th, those two numbers are just double of each other. And you can talk about 12th notes with the 8th note triplets as well. And then quintuplets, if you know those are 20th notes, you can say I'm doing a 40th notes in my rolls, and you just take quintuplets and double those. And that basically becomes helpful. So being able to do 40th notes and 48th notes and 24th notes and all those different numbers, it can just make a nice shorthand like that. And there are some books that actually refer to it that way, and I occasionally see it mentioned on the internet. So if you're encountering those terms, one, I just wanted to help you know what they are if you didn't already know that terminology. And two, I think it's actually really helpful for drummers to be able to use that terminology, say, hey, let's hear a 48th note roll. You know exactly what they're talking about, versus saying, hey, let's take 16th note triplets or 16th note sextuplets and double those, and then you got a 12let kind of thing. Like, it's just a lot faster to say 48th note roll. So anyway, I don't know that this is going to create a huge change in terminology on the internet, but hopefully it'll get it out there. And if you want to sound like you know what you're talking about, you can use that terminology. And if other people use it, then now you know. You're in the know. Well, that's it for today. Have fun drumming, and have fun playing through all these crazy tuplet patterns. See you next time.